Welcome back to the podcast. I'm Dean Seddon. If you're new joining this podcast, please do come and hunt me down on LinkedIn, Instagram, and all the other social media places, X. Today we're going to be talking about knowing your why. Why is knowing your why important? And I'm going to talk about this in the context of social selling, because if we're all kind of going to market and we want to reach people and engage people, win customers, it's so critical you know your why. And Simon Sinek obviously published the book Start With Why. And to be honest with you, I've never read the book cover to cover. I've kind of picked at it. But I wanted to kind of talk about this more than anything today because of how critical knowing your why is when it comes to social selling. So one man and his dog is out there flogging their wares, selling themselves, promoting what they do. And here's the challenge. The challenge is you've got to stand out. You've got to differentiate yourself. And yes, you can have a USP, and yes, you can do all of this stuff. But what really gets people engaged, what really gets people motivated is when they see that you are a person on a mission. You know, I'm a bit of a politics addict, and I love looking at all the kind of machinations of what's going on in politics and the games that are played and all that kind of stuff. But one of the things that really stands out about certain politicians, and I know I'm talking about politics and politicians, is every now and then you come across some politicians who actually have some conviction. They have a belief and a mission, whether that's right or wrong, right? You don't have to agree with somebody to say they actually really believe and are on a mission. They have some conviction. They're motivated by a mission. And of course, that can be dangerous as well. And, crazy ideologies and extreme ideologies, of course. But when it comes to business, we need a why, because that gives us the motivation to actually make a difference. That gives us the motivation to move forward. But ultimately, it gives other people a reason to believe in us, a reason to buy from us, because we are on a mission. It's really hard to get traction if you don't really understand your why. And I'll just say now, money is a miserable why. It's not very compelling. Now, we all need money. We all want to make money. We all want to enjoy lives. We want to enjoy the fruits of our labor. But if that's your why, you have no conviction. If getting money is your conviction, I would argue you need to think again. Yes, we want money to give our families a great life. Yes, we want money because we want to enjoy our lives. That's brilliant. But what's the real reason why you're doing what you're doing? What gets you out of bed in the morning? When it's tough and it's difficult, what gets you motivated? And I have met a number of very talented, very clever people who don't know why they're doing things. And here's the problem. When you have that conviction that you want to change something or make something happen or, change the world, whatever that world is, it comes through in your language, it comes through in your energy, it comes through in the way you communicate, it comes through in everything. People get fired up and excited when they start talking about their why. And that's got to come through in your social selling. And I really believe my why, obviously I want to do well. I want to enjoy my life. I want to provide for my family. I want to give my family the best start. I want all of that stuff. But fundamentally, I started because I believed that starting a business would take me out of my circumstances. And that why has really propelled me for most of my life, in that I grew up in a working class background. So I didn't have the trust fund, I didn't have the network, I didn't have the rich friends, I didn't have the nice brands. And so I found it very difficult building my business, not because, I would argue building a business is easier today than it's ever been. But I fundamentally believe that the way we change our societies and make our communities better is by helping people start businesses. And as soon as I say that, I think my mind thinks of Starbucks and how potentially people could construe it as like, yeah, but Starbucks doesn't pay any tax and all these big companies don't pay tax, blah, 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 blah. If you look at most economies, the vast majority of the GDP, the wealth in the country is actually generated by small business owners, people who are solopreneurs, people who only employ a small handful of people. That's where the wealth in this country and many, many countries is generated. And for me, I feel like we've spent too much time, the media has spent too much time talking about these tiny number of companies that have blown up into huge beasts. And that seems to be the thing that you are presented with. You can do really well and have a really good life just running your own business as a solopreneur. And me speaking to people who are like, I just want to do well. I want to do better. I fundamentally believe if you can help people start businesses, it's going to make a community better. If you look at, I'm not throwing big business under the bus, totally, but if you look at a small town, a village, a community, if money is made in that community, if people sell their ideas, their creativity and all that stuff in their community, that money stays in that community. It prospers that community. When you look at big corporate chains and all that kind of stuff, one of the challenges are that money ends up moving out of that community. The wealth is transferred from the community to a London HQ, a global HQ, whatever. But when somebody starts a small business, a solopreneur, that money is spent locally. That money is spent in the community. That business employs somebody locally. And that's why I'm passionate about helping people build businesses. I'm probably more passionate about helping people build businesses than I am about social selling. But social selling, I found, is a way that individuals, small businesses, solopreneurs can reach people, can win customers. And that's why I think the why is so important. It motivates you to get up in the morning, to push through the obstacles, to get through the challenges. And when I meet people who don't have that why, you notice how easy they give up. You notice how easy they quit. You notice how easy they just chop and change their ideas. By all means, we change the path to grow that. We change the path of how to achieve the why. That's the way to achieve the why, the way to deliver your mission, your personal mission, can absolutely change. But the end result of the why, the reason why you're doing this, stays the same. And I see people without a why trying to make money, and as soon as it becomes difficult, they quit and move on to something else. So one of the things I did was I created the Social Selling Accelerator, because there's a lot of great people out there. Maybe some of you are listening to me today and you're going, I really want to make a difference. I really want to change the world, whatever that world's like. And you want to do it in a way that's true to you. Yeah. You don't really want to sell yourself to social media, spend hours on there. You don't really want to pick up the phone and turn into a salesperson. You want people to buy into you in a real and authentic way, buy into your mission, and become, cheesy as it says, fans. People who believe in you and back you because what you're trying to do. So you want to sell yourself, but you want to do it in an authentic way. You want to sell what you're doing. You want people to buy into your mission and buy into your offer, but you want to do it in a way that's real. And, when I started the accelerator, the first option was let's make an online course. And the problem with an online course is it's still difficult to implement. Doesn't matter how easy you make it, it's still difficult to implement. There's only so much you can do. And of course, I'd probably be richer if I just did an online course. But I just find as I've tried to create them, yes, I can do information courses, but as I try to create them in a step-by-step way, there's so much nuance between the steps that I wanted to do something more. I wanted to go on the journey with people. I wanted to help them accelerate their success. I wanted to stick around with them. And I found courses quite limiting because it transfers information, but then you've got to apply that information to a unique circumstance. My business is different from your business, is different from the next person's business. So me giving you a template course really didn't make the difference. And if you really want to succeed at social selling, you want to build that business, you want to win those customers, and you want to do it in a comfortable way, every course has to be adapted. So I set out on the Social Selling Accelerator and went, what's the goal of this? The goal is solopreneurs, small business owners, they want to grow, they want to leverage social selling to get their name out there, to build their brand, to position themselves as the expert, to win clients, yes, but to get their message out too. And they didn't want to turn into a salesperson. They didn't want to sell their souls to social media. They don't want to commit to spending 90 minutes going crazy, engaging to get reach and all that stuff, right? So I started the Social Selling Accelerator, and it's got 3 simple principles to it. People want to position themselves as the expert, not to the whole world, but to the people they can help. So that may be 200 people, it might be 1,000 people, however many. They want to position themselves as the expert. They want to be that expert. They want to win clients, and not just any client, the clients that fit. Because we can all win clients, but we want to win clients that actually work with our overall goals. We want to work with clients that actually help us achieve our why. We don't want to end up working with clients where actually it doesn't feel like, it feels like a job. We want to find the people where they buy into the way we work because we're the expert, and they buy into our way of working. So be the expert, win clients. And of course, we want to do it authentically. We don't want to be pitchy. We don't want to be icky. We want to do it in the right way. And we want to do it so we enjoy it. We want to benefit from it. We want to get the time back. We don't want to sell our souls to social media. We don't want to sell our souls to cold calling. We don't want to sell and have to discount because we're desperate. Or we don't want to have to be at the bottom of the market from a pricing point of view. We want to position ourselves so that people see the value in investing in us and are prepared to pay top draw for investing in us. And that's why your why becomes so important. That's why my why became so important. And that's why, despite me probably wanting to make more money and could make more money just throwing up an online course and going for it, I wanted to go on the journey. I wanted my team to go on the journey. I wanted to be there as the real challenges come, as the bits where you get stuck, as the bits where it becomes more difficult. I want to go on that, and that's why I created it. And there's nothing quite like it because I want to go on the journey. And of course, it's messy on the journey, right? If you talk to any marketing agency, they'll say to you, working with clients is one of the most messiest things ever. But I know that if people have a strong why, we can go on that journey together. We can help them when it gets cloudy, when there's conflicting ideas, when there's crossroads. We can be there. And that's really why I created the accelerator. I created it because I wanted to be on the journey with people. I wanted them to thrive and prosper, and I wanted to hang around to help them and to see it happen. And in the past, I was like, yeah, I can deliver information, but we all know how this works, right? You can read a book, you can read something online, but then when it comes to, right, we're now going to implement it, that's where it gets difficult. That's where it gets tricky. So I said to my team, we're going to help people position themselves as the expert for their ideal clients. We're going to help them find their most valuable clients. We're going to help them switch from this inconsistency to consistency. And we're going to help them enjoy doing it. We're not going to let social media or any other marketing channel take over their life. I mean, what is the point? I mean, let's be honest, right? What is the point in building a business to get the freedom to pursue your personal mission? It might be that your personal mission is to really look after your family and it's all about them, and that's cool. It might be you're on a mission because you really have a passion to change people's lives. It might be you have a passion for a topic, right? But what you don't want to do is inadvertently, and I see this all the time, inadvertently become a marketing person, inadvertently become a salesperson, where actually you wanted, the mission was to change the lives. The mission was to enjoy the freedom with your family. The mission was to actually do better for your family. The mission is to promote a topic or a cause within your business. And of course it has to make money. You want to do all those things, but then suddenly you find that the mission, you become a slave to the mission because you're now stuck on selling and social media and doing things that don't feel right and don't feel like they're you, but you do it because you make the money, and you end up in this cycle of, I need to make money, so I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this. And you go, at some point you realize, this is not what I wanted to do. What happens is the quest for marketing and doing the marketing from the wrong approach ends up consuming your life. That's why I started the accelerator. That's why I do what I do. I believe solopreneurs and small businesses are the key to the prosperity of communities. And one of my big things I want to do eventually is launch some kind of microfinance startup organization that literally helps people get going. But the organization where it doesn't help people get going because they're going to make billions. It helps people get going because they might create another job, or they're going to add wealth to a community. So it's not about investing big chunks of money into businesses that'll blow up, and you put a £1,000 investment in and it becomes 10 million. That's not what I'm interested in. I'm interested in the person who needs 500 quid and can actually build a 100 grand business or a 150 grand business, because that is the key to the prosperity of communities. So that's my mission. And the social selling accelerator is one way that I help me fulfill my mission. So I help people fulfill my mission by helping them fulfill theirs. And social selling is a key for me, a way for people to reach people at low cost and do it from a place of expertise, from a place of authority, from a place of freedom, from a place of fun. It's enjoyable, and importantly, it does not consume your life. If you want to spend 100 hours a week on your mission, awesome. But nobody signed up to basically spend their life trying to sell their mission. Notice what a difference I said. If you want to spend 100 hours a week on your mission, awesome. But nobody signed up to spend 100 hours a week marketing their mission. And that's the big difference. I know it sounds like semantics, right? But it's really important. The mission that you started, the reason why you started, is something you should pursue with all your heart, mind, and soul. But marketing the reason why you started, in other words, the selling piece, should not be consuming your life. And, I cannot emphasize to everybody listening to me that if you're now wondering and you're going, what is my why? Am I even following my why anymore? Does this feel like the way I should be doing it? Talk to me, message me, comment on one of my posts, tell me what your why is. Because I see so many people wandering aimlessly, not because they haven't got a why, not because they haven't got a driving personal mission. It's because they've become disenchanted with trying to propagate that mission out there. The marketing of it, the selling of it, the getting the buy-in of it has become is poisoning their mission. And I'll tell you a story before I wrap up. I was having a chat with somebody who's doing good business. They're doing about 100 grand a year as a business. So, they're not mega rich. They're not a global multinational. They're doing about 100 grand a year. And they're really passionate about what they do in technology and how the technology can change people and help people's businesses and all this kind of really passionate. As soon as we talk about that, they get really fired up. And then when we talk about how they promote that and how they market it, suddenly there was a bitterness. There was a frustration. There was an anger. And it was because they had spent thousands of pounds and thousands of hours trying to get this out there, to the point where they were at their wits' end and went, do you know what? They were reaching the point where their mission was no longer worth it to them. Their reason to propagate their ideas around technology was starting to become a burden because the whole marketing of it, the selling of it, they'd massively invested in it, and it just wasn't working. They were just on a merry-go-round, a circle, and all of that hope, that dream, that passion was being slowly eaten away by the lack of progress of getting buy into it. And the theory is you go nuts marketing it and eventually it'll all flip. Do you know what I mean? You start pushing it, you start campaigning, almost call it campaigning, you start sharing your ideas, and the hope is that if you invest heavily in marketing, you invest heavily in selling it, you push, eventually it will flip. And I found that if you don't get buy-in to you, that never happens. If you don't get buy-in to your way, your ideas first, it's very hard to get that momentum to make things happen. So that's why I start with everybody of going, what's the why? Why does that matter to you? What's going to move you forward? That's the bit that unlocks everything else, absolutely everything else. So I'd encourage you, it's January 2024. We're already, almost February 2024. And there's 11 months left of the year. Yeah, the year has just begun. Even if you've missed your New Year's resolutions, there is time right now to get back to that why and to start building from positioning yourself and getting your ideas out and what you believe and building that belief in what you stand for. And from that, unlocking the clients and the fun stuff, that all the perks of building a business, all the benefits of building a business. So know your why. I cannot emphasize this enough. If you are really rooted in your conviction, then you can start to unlock everything else. That's why I do what I do. That's why I started the accelerator. That's why I focus on social selling, because I see it as the easiest path to you getting the buy-in to your mission, to winning that clients, to winning the business that allows you to pursue it more and more. And if you want to go on the journey with me in the Social Accelerator, DM me, ask me what it's about, ask for more info, talk to our team, and we'll show you why we're so passionate about going on the journey with you and your why.